While ISIS is retreating and its caliphate continues to crumble, the leader of the terror group is still at large. For the past 3 years, intelligence agencies worldwide have been on the hunt for Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and to no avail. And though there have been sightings of him, the world's most wanted man has been able to avoid capture. Despite this, U.S. officials say pockets of ISIS fighters in Iraq are being flushed out daily. Earlier today, the Pentagon gave an update.
Iraqi security forces continue to pursue the few ISIS fighters that seek to threaten the people of Iraq and clear previously ISIS-occupied areas, making them safe for residents. The campaign against ISIS has resulted in over 4.5 million people in Iraq liberated from the evil of ISIS, and we congratulate the government of Iraq on their success and are proud to stand beside them. However, we must not lose sight of the fact that much work remains to ensure the enduring defeat of this evil terrorist ideology. ISIS has demonstrated its desire to return to its terrorist roots with the bombings and attacks that have killed innocent civilians in Ramadi, Nasiriyah, Baghdad, and elsewhere over the past several weeks. Our Iraqi partners continue to provide security, which will increasingly include policing and border control functions, to prevent the migration and reemergence of the ISIS threat. Through this success, the Coalition Joint Task Force remains committed to working with our Iraqi partners to root out and destroy the remaining ISIS fighters and the influence they attempt to peddle. We anticipate this will take some time since ISIS fighters are hiding in the mountains and amongst the civilian population, but it is necessary in order to ensure the sustained security to Iraq and guarantee the safety of the Iraqi people.
For more, I want to bring in Martin Chulov. He's a Middle East correspondent for The Guardian. He joins me now from Beirut. Martin, what have you learned from intelligence officials about their efforts to try and track Baghdadi?
Well, there has been, as you would imagine, a particularly intensive effort to track him down over the last 3.5 years. It has been partly successful, perhaps more successful than most of us know. The effort is focused on signals intelligence, and that is intercepting any communications which come from his inner circle or those who may lead to him. Baghdadi has slipped up a couple of times. He has spoken on a radio network. He has accessed an internet device which was known to be used by him. And there was one particular occasion in late 2016, the 3rd of November, when he spoke on an open radio for 45 seconds, trying to exhort his followers to fight intensively in the battle for Mosul.
That account was so fascinating to read about that radio transmission and how it allowed officials to kind of start to track him. But after all these years, how is it that he has managed to evade being captured?
He relies on a small and secretive and highly disciplined network. It's driven by his son-in-law, the husband of his firstborn daughter. He is particularly essential to Baghdadi's security network, manages his private affairs, and the network beyond that is pretty much confined to family and clan. There are only a small number of people, literally less than 6, who do know the man's whereabouts and are responsible for his protection. We do know that he has spent much of his time in the last couple of years moving between houses, some of which are underground. He has lived in areas which are controlled and protected by tribes that are loyal to him and to his cause. And if you are disciplined and stay away from digital media or digital communications, you can hide even in an age of overt surveillance like this.
As we look on this map here, is there a sense of where the fight has moved for ISIS?
Well, ISIS are pretty well confined after being ousted from Raqqa and from Deir ez-Zor to the Euphrates River Valley, which is a swathe of fertile land between Iraq and Syria, more or less where it all began for them way back in their earliest incarnation in 2004. We don't think Baghdadi is there, though. We do believe that he has moved more to the east, towards the Anbar province, in an area near the El-Hada Desert, in the El-Thatha Basin. The majority of what remains of the leadership seem to be in the Euphrates River Valley, where they're hiding out in hamlets and small towns, and they're very hard to track. But this is not familiar ground for Baghdadi. We do believe that him and those who are protecting him have moved further into Iraq.
Is there a sense there's someone waiting in the wings should he be captured or killed?
There are so many that have been killed, so many of his deputies and those founding members of the military council, the Shura Council, the original founding group, that it's not yet clear who could step up and replace him even when the inevitable happens. He's lost 4 deputies in the last 2 years alone. We do believe that he is in functional control of what remains of his organisation, to the extent that he can give command and direction and his leadership is respected. However, it is not clear to what extent they can organise and meet and plot. There seems to be a lot of self-starting going on, which has been, terrorist acts which have been committed in his name. If he was to fall over or be killed tomorrow, it isn't clear within the current chaotic structure who would step forward.
What do you think the main challenges are, Martin, for the intelligence community when it comes to tracking ISIS and other terror networks?
Well, first and foremost, it is what has become of the terror network which has been established abroad. ISIS put a lot of effort in 2015, 16 and 17 in particular into exporting their chaos into Europe and into the US to encourage self-starters. We've seen some of those stateside, we've seen some of those in Europe. But what we don't yet know is the capacity that they retain in terms of a sleeper cell potential, or those who have the ability to organise spectacular mass attacks in Europe to act as a lightning rod for those who continue to be disaffected and continue to see the message that ISIS offers as alluring, even after it's been defeated more or less militarily in where it began from them in Iraq and Syria.
Martin Chulov with The Guardian. Thank you for joining us, Martin.
Welcome.